Hey everybody, welcome back. So last night I was solving a very difficult programming problem, and it took a lot of troubleshooting and trying out different things. It was actually a problem with the Nginx server I was running. There were multiple parts involved. I had to troubleshoot whether it was Nginx or the Rails app that I was doing, or maybe something else. Maybe it was in third party library or gem or something like that. But anyway, I got the problem that I was working on solved. But trying to crack that problem, something that came to mind was how all of the training that I had in school and the educational system was just inadequate for solving that type of problem. And it made me think about how the way that we do education and learning doesn't really teach you a whole lot that you need to get by in an actual career, in actual problem solving, actually doing stuff. So what I'm trying to get at is, like, if you're like in a university or taking a class in something, a lot of the way that they decide whether you're qualified to pass the exam is they have you do like memorization. They'll have you do like 50 or 100 questions, just like a final exam in college, of where you're solving little math problems, or you have to remember certain facts. And while I think memorization to an extent is useful, it doesn't really teach you a whole lot. It doesn't make you a good problem solver. I guess you could say that the way that we do education trains people to be good test takers and gaming the professor's test, and not necessarily being great at doing something practical. You're going to forget things over time. So the memory stuff doesn't really matter a whole lot. Yes, you're going to have familiarity the more that you do a particular task, and that's where the people who are really smart remember lots of facts, is because they're doing a particular thing, they get familiar with it, and certain things they kind of get ingrained in your memory. But when we're doing education, we're kind of prioritizing like the memory part first in the way that we structure exams, when really life is more like an open book sort of test, where there's some things that you're probably going to remember, but what's more important is knowing where to go to get the answers, how to research the answers. So you're going to forget stuff, and the target that you have is constantly changing because the information that we have changes over time. So the facts that you need to solve your problems probably change because, like, from a technical standpoint, the frameworks change. They're always changing the syntax of Ruby all the time. They're changing the syntax of JavaScript all the time, and you need to know how to read and keep up with what the latest changes are and the latest techniques. So there's a lot of, it's more so about how quickly can you learn new things, not so much can you memorize them. And the amount of stuff that you have to memorize, well, the amount of stuff that you have to know is a lot more than any person can reasonably memorize. And then if you try to memorize stuff, it gets out of date anyway, and then you have to constantly acquire more knowledge. So I think, like, what's a lot more important than being able to remember facts is being able to know how to research them and apply that knowledge to actually solving a particular problem. The things that I think make a software engineer, or anybody good at anything that they do for that matter, is that they remember their own techniques and shortcuts for solving particular problems, and not so much the facts themselves. For example, an attorney is always going to have to be looking up new case law and, whatever is going on with a particular case that the attorney's working on. And he's going to have to do, well, if he's a good attorney, he's going to do a lot of research and try to research more cases on that. And the part that's important to remember is that process that you're going through of looking up the cases. Or like going back to programming, the process of where you go for the information, being able to digest and understand the tutorials and the reference guides and whatnot that you need to do your troubleshooting. I think the reason that a lot of younger people who have educations enter the workforce without enough skills and experience is because our educational system is kind of built on this whole memorization way of determining whether you qualify enough, whether you could pass a test, and not enough practical application of the knowledge. And they don't really test you so much in that area of being able to think on your feet and kind of applying your smarts. You may have like aced the final exam because you remembered a bunch of stuff that the professor put on the test, but is that actual stuff that you're going to need to apply to whatever thing it is that you're going to be working on? No, because what's more important is the process of being able to look up things and just know how to approach a particular problem, where to go to get the information, and how to process it. So, personal story, a long time ago, I took the CFA exam, the Chartered Financial Analyst exams, which are very difficult to pass certifications in the financial industry. I passed the first two exams out of the 3 levels on the first try, and I didn't go for a third one, but I mean, it's been like about 10 years since I took that exam, and I did learn some interesting things and kind of gave me familiarity a little bit with the general accounting practices. But I mean, all that information and knowledge, it's it's kind of gone away from my head now, and I probably have to do a lot of research in those same books if I were really to dig into that particular stuff again. The exam had a very broad breadth of information, and most people who work in the financial industry, they probably don't need to know all of that stuff anyway. So most people who take the exams, they're probably going to just get little bits of information on particular topics, and those are just kind of like the seeds for further research on something else that you might be working on or doing. Anyway, that's all I have to say for today. I hope you found this to be an interesting topic. Go ahead and like this video, and please subscribe to my channel for more content like this. See you next time.